Hey guys, Super Rugby Pacific round 3 is coming up this weekend. That means it's time for me to bring you my best player picks for Fantasy Super Rugby. Jumping right into it, let's look at this week's fixtures. Remember, we want to identify the matchups where there's going to be a lot of open play, lots of tries scored, lots of line breaks, offloads, that sort of thing. That's where most of the points come from in fantasy. So we want to draw our players from the teams in those matchups. This week, I'm kind of liking these first 3 matchups. The last 2, not as much. First up, Moana Pacifica versus the Force. This will be in Pukekohe, a home game for the Pacifica. Last week, they got hammered by the Hurricanes. This week, they've got a lot of reinforcements. Last week, they had something like 8 debutants or something ridiculous like that because of the quick turnaround from their first round. Not so much this round. They are going to be bolstered. They should be a bit stronger. Whereas Western Force, I mean, look, they're coming all the way from Perth. That's a lot of travel for them. But otherwise, for these two teams, I kind of like this matchup. They're kind of a bit more evenly matched, so they're both going to get a good chance to really show their stuff and play their game without just getting dominated. So I do actually kind of like this matchup. Not necessarily a huge amount. I mean, I'm not sure it'll be a points fiesta, but yeah, definitely a game where we could see some decent action for fantasy. After that, we have Red versus Highlanders. This will be at Suncorp, I believe, in Brisbane. And looking forward to this game, actually. This one should be fun. I'm a little bit uncertain about it, uncertain how it's going to play out, just because, I mean, the Reds had that bye last week, so... And before that, they got hammered a bit by the Waratahs in round 1. They just gave away way too many penalties while under pressure, and yeah, the Waratahs really ran away with that game in the end. But because we never saw them last week, we don't know if they've sort of turned things around or if they're still a bit half-baked. But yeah, they've named a long lineup, the Reds. Harry Wilson is going to be back this week as well. That is pretty big news. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, I think this could be a game played with a lot of positivity as well. Could be an open game. And so far, the weather looks good for both of these games as well. So yeah, I do kind of like this matchup for fantasy as well. On the Saturday afternoon, we have the Fijian and Drua versus the Hurricanes. Now, Hurricanes, they had a bye in round 1, but they really announced themselves in round 2 by completely obliterating Moana Pacifica in Wellington. And look, I mean, we really like the Hurricanes in fantasy. They were really good last year. They play that up-tempo rugby. They like to move the ball quickly. They go wide. They get it to the fringes. They just want to attack in a really freewheeling sort of way. That's exactly what we want for fantasy. And with the Fijian and Drua, I mean, look, to be honest, they're a weaker team. They did not look good traveling away to play against the Waratahs last week. But this week they are at home. This game is in Lautoka, and as we know, look, the Drua, they can be really strong at home. They grow another arm and another leg. But they were in Lautoka in round 1 as well, when they got beat up by Moana, man. Like Moana, they just rushed out to a 3-try lead within, I think, 20 minutes. And yeah, look, I mean, there is a bit of a power disparity between these two teams, right? Like the Hurricanes, if they go over there, if they sort of put some points on early, yeah, they could sort of blow the Endura away. And we know the Endura, they like to throw the ball around as well. They like to play that open game, but that leaves a lot of scraps for the other team to sort of feast on. And the Hurricanes are the exact sort of team to do that, man. You give them loose ball, they'll pick it up and they'll punish you. They got serious guns in that back line and in the forward pack as well, to be honest. So The big thing about this game, though, I mean, a lot of people are probably eyeing this game up. They really want to pick up all these Hurricanes, and we got that recency bias from last week where they steamrolled Moana, where everyone's aware the same thing could have happened again in this matchup, but there is a high probability of rain for this game. If you look at the weather forecast for Lautoka, it's like rain for the next week, so that's kind of scary, man. Like, that's kind of scary. I'm going to be checking the weather much closer to the game. Might try and find a webcam in Lautoka somewhere just to see exactly what's happening, because yeah, if it's seriously wet for this game, like, that obviously really restricts how open play can be. It's going to be harder to move the ball around. There's going to be a lot more turnovers, more sort of scrums from all the knock-ons, could be more forwards play, like, it can get pretty wet up there in Fiji. So yeah, there's a big sort of caveat around this matchup, right? Like, yeah, if it's going to be dry, going all in on Hurricanes not going to be a bad idea. But yeah, if it looks like it's going to be wet, you might want to sort of diversify a bit with your big slots, like your outside backs. So keep that in mind. That's probably going to be the key defining thing for this round in fantasy, I think. But then moving on, we have Saturday night, Chiefs versus Crusaders, a big battle. This is in Hamilton. Weather for that, I think, looks decent at the moment. Possible showers, actually, so keep an eye on that as well. And yeah, look, I mean, the Crusaders, they've had a tough start to the season. They haven't won a game yet. They had a real battle against the Highlanders in round 1. Round 2, they got blown away by the Brumbies in that record game, albeit they were in that match till like the last 10 minutes. So scoreline a little bit flattering, but yeah, another tough game again for them against the Chiefs in Hamilton. And I mean, the Chiefs they've had tough games as well, man. They're battle hardened too, and both of their games they've sort of just got out of jail free. Like yeah, I mean, with the Blues, they're kind of lucky to get that Tupovai try where he dived over, and then the Blues in the sort of last few minutes in the game, they just constantly gave the Chiefs back the ball and piggybacked them down the field and let them in. And with the Highlanders, like, a couple of real serious opportunist tries, right? Like, with the Highlanders were on their line, and the Chiefs just completely reverse it and run all the way down the other end and score a try, and that was the difference in the end, because it was a close game. So yeah, we're this is gonna be a big game, man. And look, I don't know if it's gonna be an arm wrestle, like a forwards arm wrestle necessarily. I don't think so, but it's gonna be a battle, right? It's probably gonna be tight, it's probably gonna be close. They're probably not gonna be just running in try after try against each other. And I mean, look, I said this about Brumbies versus Crusaders last week as well. I thought it was just going to be a forwards battle, but no, both teams were sort of just attack, and part of that was the wind and not wanting to kick because of the wind. But I mean, look, if the Crusaders, maybe they bring that mindset to Hamilton as well, it could be quite a high scoring game again. But yeah, that's something for you to decide. I'm really not sure, but because of that uncertainty, I'm kind of steering clear of picking a lot of players in this game. And then with the Brumbies versus the Blues, the last game of the round, I kind of have the same feeling about it, right? Like, this is in Canberra, by the way. Weather conditions look decent. At least it won't be wet, but a lot of this, I think, it depends on the Blues and how the Blues want to play. Like, the last couple of years, this matchup is, well, last year anyway, this matchup was a real sort of ugly arm wrestle forwards grind, and that's how the Blues have played for the last couple of years. They just want to roll their sleeves up with their forwards and go around the corner. And I mean, the Brumbies, they like to do that sort of thing as well, or at least they have in the past. So Yeah, the Blues this year, they have tried to air the ball out a bit more. Like they have tried to move it a bit more with their backs, and it hasn't been pretty, to be honest. But I'm kind of thinking going into this game after what the Brumbies did to the Crusaders, the Blues, they might they might go into their shell a bit, right? Like they might not want to be trying that against a team like the Brumbies, who were able to punish the Crusaders for trying to play a lot in their own half and turning over the ball. So yeah, I feel like the Blues might tighten it up for this one. They might go back to that sort of Vern Cotter instinct and just try to do the crash bash with the forwards. And look, the Brumbies, they'll be up for that. They won't have a problem with that. And but if that is how the Blues play, then yeah, it will make this kind of like a low-scoring arm wrestle, right? Which won't be so great for fantasy, although it can be still a good type of matchup to draw forwards from, because it's going to be a lot of those sort of tackles and that close to the line, sort of where the type 5 gets heaps of tackles. That can be good for fantasy, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that matchup. You can make your own mind up about that, but let's get into the players now. Starting off with the outside backs now. I think a lot of people's instinct might be just to sort of load up on the Hurricanes again in the outside backs, and yeah, I think that would be the strat. But remember what I said about the weather, right? Keep an eye on that weather. If it's going to be really wet, you might want to sort of not fully load up in these very valuable outside back slots. And if you're not doing that, though, it sort of comes down to which ones do you want to draw out of here if you are getting just one or two of these Hurricanes. And look, remember, Callum Harkin, he is going to be starting at 10 this week as well. So he did shift to 10 last week and still did really, really well. Basically got the same points as Finiang and Offo. So yeah, look, that was a huge effort from him, because generally speaking, it's a lot harder to score points out of that 10 slot than it is in the outside backs. But he does attack with the ball and handle a lot when he plays in 10 as well. Like, I guess that's his instinct. So yeah, he's not a bad pick, but I probably still would be favoring these other two, Finiang Anofo and Josh Morby. Morby will be playing at fullback. Yeah, I think fullback is a bit more reliable. If it did look like it was going to rain and I wanted to pick one fullback, I mean, it might be Morby, just because he's probably going to be the one getting the ball in the wet and making the decision on whether to kick it or to run it. But otherwise, I think Finiang and Offer is kind of, you can't go wrong with him either, right? So yeah, that's the choice you sort of get to make when it comes to the outside backs. The other wing is actually going to be Balin Sullivan. We'll talk about him a bit more when we get to the midfield, because he is listed as a midfielder, but yeah, he's definitely a guy in play as well. But yeah, let's say it's gonna rain or something. You're not so keen on the Hurricanes in Fiji. There's obviously always going to be a lot of other options in the outside backs. Of course, Will Jordan, can't go wrong with Will Jordan. He's already got two pretty good scores, 60 each week, including round one when he got that off the bench. And he's not necessarily getting these scores just by racking up tries, right? He's just earning them just because he's Will Jordan. Also, the Highlanders back three, I've talked about them a lot before. I like all three of these guys in the Highlanders back three. Tangatau, he is my favorite. Didn't do so much in week one, great in week two. And yeah, if you're just going to pick one of these guys, Tangatau, he's my pick out of the three of them. He is the most expensive though. And yeah, if you have money problems, I mean, going with Nareki isn't a bad option either, to be honest. Like, hasn't scored heaps of points yet, but you know, if the game is going the Highlanders' way, like if it's a sort of game where they're going to be scoring points, I mean, he's in reality just as likely as the rest of them to score points. And My Tavuki Neatkins, he's the solid one. He's at fullback, and yeah, you can't go wrong with him either. Muirhead's stock, I mean, his stock went up a lot in my eyes last week. He was all over the place last week. 72 points with just the one try. Yeah, he was electric, man. And look, I don't like him so much this week just because, like I said before, I don't feel so great about that Brumbies Blues matchup. I feel like there could be an arm wrestle, and I mean, even if the Brumbies win, like it may not necessarily be done through the backs running crazy like they did last week. Generally speaking, Corey Toll, like he's my favorite out of the Brumbies back three, but yeah, Muirhead after last week, man, like yeah, he might be the better choice this week. That's a tough option to pick between there. Otherwise, not a huge amount going on here. Tavita offer, I'll give a mention actually. If you're looking for someone cheaper, like obviously didn't do a lot against the Hurricanes, but I mean they're playing the Force this week, so yeah, it's a much better matchup for him, much higher chance of him, you know, getting involved in point scoring action. And yeah, this guy was good last year. Like he didn't get necessarily a lot of game time, but this year he probably will, and I think people will find out that yeah, this guy's definitely very good. I like the matchup he's in. He's not expensive, so yeah, if you do need a cheaper option for whatever reason, he is definitely one to be aware of. And beyond that, man, we've got the Chiefs and the Crusaders. Leroy Carter, Nada was back this week. Sevu Reece, he was amazing last year. Normally a very, very big fan of picking him in fantasy. But yeah, I just don't feel great about this matchup, to be honest. I feel like it's going to be a battle and kind of a close one, and not necessarily high scoring. You may feel different about that, but otherwise, I mean, when it comes to these teams, I like Nadawa a lot, but he's not necessarily always involved in the points. I do like Carter more if I'm picking someone from the Chiefs, just because he does really get himself involved. And yeah, with the Crusaders, I mean, look, Will Jordan, he's your rock solid option. He's gonna get good points, and potentially, I mean, if the game goes well for the Crusaders, he could go through the roof. Whereas Sevu Reece, I mean, he's a guy who can go through the roof, but he's also a guy, like, the ball might not come his way either, especially in a tough game. So yeah, definitely a guy not to forget about. But this week, yeah, not loving that pick. Now moving on to the midfield, and there is a lot going on in the midfield this week, man. Like, it is really tough to make choices here, because yeah, if you really like the Hurricanes against the Endure this week, your options here are really stacked up. Like, obviously we got Billy Proctor, who's just he's the big guy in fantasy in the midfield, right? Like last year he just went crazy every game. Like he was like an outside back in terms of points, but he's on the midfield. That's why he costs 11.2 million. But I mean, he's worth it, right? Like, he is the guy. You also got Jordie Barrett though, right? Like we saw last week, Jordie Barrett, he's gonna be a solid pick in the midfield because he can do so much. Obviously, he got to take a lot of conversions last week. He's probably gonna be doing them again. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Harkin's been practicing this week. We'll see. But yeah, that's something pretty big in Jordie's favor. And otherwise, look, we know he can break tackles, he can make offloads, but most importantly, he can do those big sort of bridge passes to the edge that can, you know, connect with those wingers, and they can go on to get a line break or a try, and that's assist points for Jordie if that happens. So yeah, I do like the Jordie pick, but I mean, here's your secret weapon in the midfield this week, Balin Sullivan. He is a midfielder, but he is playing on the wing for this game, which really increases his chance of scoring big. And we saw this a lot with Balin last year, right? Like, he was a guy listed in the midfield, but quite often he would play on the wing. And there's one game where I'm pretty sure he got like 3 or 4 tries or something ridiculous. I can't remember who they were playing against, but yeah, if the Hurricanes are going well in a game and Balin's on the wing, like, yeah, this is a serious opportunity to get a lot of points from a midfield slot. But look, that's just the Hurricanes. Of course, we've got other good options in the midfield that aren't just from the Hurricanes. And I mean, if it does rain in Fiji, like, the midfield's probably more likely to get more of the ball than the wings. So these guys, they can still be good picks in the rain, but you might still want to diversify. You might not want to be getting 2 of them. You might just want to get 1 of them, something like that. So we look at these other options. And I mean, I've talked about Pritchard before in my recap videos, right? He's had 2 great scores in a row, but because I don't know a lot about the guy, I'm kind of scared to pick him, right? Like, is this guy really this good? Is he gonna score 50 points a game for the whole season? I don't know. Like, I don't know. And if he does it again, if he does it a 3rd time, if he does it against the Blues, then yeah, I'm sold. I'm probably picking this guy every single week. But like I spoke about earlier, I'm kind of scared with this Blues game that the Blues are going to play it in a way that really shuts it down, and it just becomes a forwards arm wrestle. So that's what I'm thinking about that game, and that's what I think about this guy. I'm really not sure. But interested to see if other people do pick him, though. I suspect they will, just because his average is quite high. But yeah, really interested to see how he goes. Quintupli's been super solid. These scores, 35 and 43, I mean, these are pretty good scores for a midfielder, to be honest. So yeah, he's super solid. Tough match against the Crusaders, but look, I mean, both these games were tough, right? I mean, this Blues game was 19 against 15. He still got 35, like 3 turnovers, 19 tackles. I mean, that's ridiculous. So yeah, super solid pick, Quintuply, and not that expensive either. Tava Nawa, he's kind of underwhelmed this year. I mean, last year he was kind of good for 40 to 50 every single game. This year he's kind of 35 and 32. Bit disappointing. Kind of gone cold on him. But to be honest, I mean, having a matchup against the Reds, like, probably not going to be as tough as the matchup against the Reds, right? So he is up against Hunter Paisami, who's like a unit in himself. But yeah, interesting to see how Tava Nawa goes. He might go a bit better this week, but yeah, I've kind of gone cold on him a little bit. And here's another one I really want to talk about, Bailey Kunzel, because this is another guy listed at midfield but plays on the wing. I think for these other 2 games he's played on the wing as well, and obviously got their try against the Blues last week. Pretty good score, 49. Not so much against the Brumbies, where they got hammered a bit, but they're up against Moana Pacifica this week, so probably is, one of the better opportunities this guy's going to have all season to run in some tries, right? So yeah, definitely a guy to be aware of. Only 4.8 million as well. Yeah, very, very good value option. Then of course we've still got more to come, right? Lester Fainga'anuku, the beast. I mean, we saw his impact when he came off the bench last week. Got 43 points, which is again pretty good in the midfield, especially off the bench. But yeah, like we saw in only 18 points in the first round against the Highlanders. And yeah, I'm kind of wondering if this Chiefs matchup for the Crusaders is going to be a bit like that Highlanders game, right? Like, it's just going to be a battle. It's going to be close. Two good defenses, not really just sort of tearing each other apart. So yeah, we kind of have to wait and see. I thought Crusaders versus Brumbies was going to be the same style of game, and it wasn't. So maybe it won't be with the Chiefs either. Either way, I think he's a guy you can't really go wrong with. So yeah, if you you like the Crusaders this game, you want to pick him, I have nothing bad to say about that. And Laumapi, I mentioned this guy sort of before Super Rugby started, saying I was going to keep my eye on him. Didn't really do a lot in that Drua game, and that was a game where Pacifica was really running in a lot of points. So yeah, kind of went cold on him after that. Obviously didn't play last week as well, but I mean, still, look, it's early days, so you know, good matchup against the Force. Kind of interested to see how he goes there. And beyond that, nothing much interesting. Josh Fluke is back this week, which is something to be aware of. He's going to be starting, so yeah, he's been good in the past, but look, so many good options this week. I would be steering clear of him. Now with the 10s, not a lot of sort of standout options for me this week. The two guys I'm probably liking are just Donaldson and Pellegrini, because like I said, yeah, I do kind of like that Moana versus Force matchup. Like, I think that's going to be an even matchup. Both sides are going to have a chance to play. And look, Ben Donaldson, he's super solid, man. Like, he was solid last year as well. Like, I'm actually a fan of this guy. Did pretty good last week, getting 59 points. And Pellegrini hasn't done so much this year in these first couple of games, but he was great last year as well. When the Pacifica were doing good, he was doing good. He was an ace goal kicker last year as well. This year he's actually missed a few, but I'm sure it won't take him that long to get a dog back in. So yeah, those are my two front runners, Donaldson and Pellegrini. Bit of a toss up, really. I do back Moana to win this game just because they're going to be at home, and it's a big trip for the Force, man, and a quick turnaround as well. Like, this is a first up Friday game, so yeah, I'm just gonna give it to Moana. Based on that, I'm giving them the edge, but yeah, could go either way with those two. Otherwise, I mean, I've talked about how I kind of like Perifetta in this slot, but yeah, just because of this matchup against the Brumbies, I feel like it's gonna be tough. You know, he's not going to be getting that many shots at goal. The Blues aren't just going to score a million tries there. So yeah, nothing else really excites me here, to be honest, at all. Carter Gordon, he's getting his first start, so will be interesting to see how he goes. I've not seen him play for a while, but you know, former Wallaby, but still not necessarily someone that's that exciting to me. But yeah, be aware that he is there. With the halfbacks, it's a bit of a 3-horse one for me this week. Obviously we got Cam Roigard, and like I keep saying, last year he was the best number 9 in the slot by far. He was the only 9 who was consistently getting good points. Didn't do that much bench off the bench last week, in a game where everyone else in the Hurricanes was scoring a lot of points, so definitely had an opportunity to. But look, I mean, I'm sure he's still the goods. I'm sure he will go a lot better this week, getting the start. But the big thing is, right, like, you can only pick 4 players from one team, and if you like the Hurricanes as much as I do this week, you're gonna have to be kind of ruthless, right, about who you choose to pick up from the Hurricanes and on which slots. So yeah, could well be that you decide not to go with Roigard this week. He is also quite expensive. And I mean, next cab off the rank is probably Noah Hotham. He's been super solid so far in these first 2 games. Got a try against the Highlanders and a really good score. 36 is still pretty good score in the halfback slot against the Brumbies as well. So yeah, really can't go wrong with Hotham so far. And my third pick would be Nathan Hastie. Hasn't put up a good score this year, but I mean, I like this guy. I like the way he plays, and he has actually looked good in these games as well. And like I keep saying, Force, they're taking on Moana, a bit of a bit of a softer opponent for them, so that force players should get more of a chance to play. And yeah, I think Hasty, he might actually shine in this game, and we'll see him put on a decent score. Only 4.2 million as well, so if you want to save money somewhere, halfback's not a terrible slot to do it in. That could be one way to do it, by going with Hasty. Now with the back row, and as usual we have a lot of options here, a lot to talk about. I've gone with Failangi, Tizano, and Iyose, but there's definitely a lot more good options out there. Feeling pretty good about Failangi this week. Again, I keep saying about Moana versus the Force matchup. I think this is a good opportunity for them to play, and Failangi will probably be one of the beneficiaries of whatever play they get to the edge. Although one thing I think actually that does bring Tupou Taialoa into the mix as well, the number 8 for Moana. I think he will be a very solid pick this week, but one thing to be aware of is that they do have another number 8 on the bench, I believe. Tupou Ofungia, I think his name is, and yeah, I think he's an 8 who plays a bit of 6 as well. Tupou Taialoa didn't play last week, so he should get good minutes this week. Potentially Failangi could get subbed though, so yeah, I'm not sure which of these two will end up getting subbed, but yeah, I think both of them will do pretty well regardless, and I do prefer Failangi out of the two as well. He's just got that pace to go with the power as well, so it makes him more of a try scoring threat, and he is out on the edge as well. Tupou Taialoa isn't necessarily, so yeah, go for Failangi first if you do want a piece of the Pacifica back row, and Tupou Taialoa is just another one to think about. Going for Tizano again for the same reason, like this Force versus Moana matchup. Tizano, he can really get a lot of points in games where the Force are able to get their maul going. I think Moana is a team where they could be able to do that, and yeah, Tizano, I mean, that's the situations where he really shines and can rack up a good score. But otherwise, I mean, he's super solid at the best of times, right? Got 46 points last week against the Blues. Did get a try as part of that. I mean, he's already got 2 tries so far this year. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets at least another one this week as well. For my third slot, I've gone for Braden Iyose. Obviously, he went pretty crazy last week. Got 2 tries, I believe. And yeah, he just thrives in that sort of game that they had against Moana, where they're just able to move the ball quickly and just spread it at will. And yeah, as we see, he got 2 tries and line breaks, assists, and all of that good stuff that we want to see in fantasy. So he is a great option, but again, you can only pick 4 players from one team, so he might be a guy that you decide you want to cut if you want to pick Hurricanes elsewhere. But also, he's another guy that might do a bit better in the wet as well if it is actually raining in Fiji. Just because the forwards, I mean, they're more likely to get their hands on the ball a bit more as the game is played a bit tighter. But in that circumstances, I mean, he may not necessarily go on to, you know, get line breaks and score 2 tries either. So again, like, a lot about this just revolves around what happens with the weather in Lautoka. But the big omission from my back row, the guy we have to talk about, is Charlie Cale, because yeah, again, he got 76 points last week against the Crusaders, ran in 2 tries. That's backing up from his 113-point haul in week 1 against the Force. And if you guys have been watching my videos, I mean, I've talked up Charlie Cale since even before season started. I had him in round 1 when he got this massive haul, 113 points. And yeah, I mean, I like this guy. He's a try scoring machine. He's kind of like Braden Iyose, right? Like, he's a beast with ball in hand. He's so good in these sort of open games because the guy can run, right, and he's got the strength to go with it. So yeah, he's a fantasy beast in general. But the reason I haven't picked him this week is, again, like, I'm worried about that Brumbies Blues matchup. I mean, the Blues have good defense as well, right? I feel like this isn't necessarily the sort of game where he's going to go out and score 2 tries, but look, he's still going to be a good pick anyway, right? Like, if it is a forwards battle, I mean, that's not terrible for a back rower, and he's got the potential to still go on and score 2 tries. I mean, he did it against the Crusaders. You do it against the Crusaders, you can do it against the Blues, and I mean, it's in Canberra as well, right? They're at home, so yeah, like picking this guy, definitely not a bad pick, right? And yeah, this is kind of a close one for me, right? I was kind of tossing up between him and Ayose. I might still end up switching these guys around and pick up another Hurricane elsewhere, but yeah, definitely something to think about, right? Think about what you think that matchup between the Blues and the Brumbies is going to look like, and you can make your decision based on that. But still, we got more good choices as well. I mean, Fraser McWright's there, right? In that Reds back row. I mean, Joe Bryle's actually pretty good as well. And in that Reds back row, Harry Wilson, he's getting his first start of the year. Harry Wilson, he was a fantasy beast last year. He was one of the best back rowers up there with Tizano. He was just super solid week in and week out. And I would seriously consider picking him this week. But one thing is, when guys are coming back from injury, they usually don't get a lot of minutes, right? Even when they're starting. So I suspect that he is actually going to get subbed, and there is a number 8 on the bench for the Reds as well. Vota Latu, the guy who got carded in round 1 against the Waratahs, and he is a number 8. He's an out-and-out number 8. So yeah, I do expect Harry Wilson to get subbed, so I would dodge him this week. If you want a piece of the Reds back row, Fraser McWright would be my pick. And even if it does turn out to be a bit of a battle with the Highlanders, like a grindy battle, which I don't necessarily think it will be, but even if it does turn out to do that, McWright does well in those games. So yeah, definitely not a bad pick. And beyond that, only other one I mentioned is Ekuasi. This guy's a unit, man. He's a bit of a beast carrying the ball, and hasn't put up any massive scores yet. But if you've watched the Forces game, like, this guy carries very effectively, and I just mentioned him because he could go well against Moana. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a try, and it's only 4.2 million. So if you do need to save money for whatever reason, or you want a cheap option, he's the good cheap option, I think, this week. And lastly, I just want to talk about Antonio Wanga. This guy's a bit of a out there pick, but he was actually a beast last year. This year he's listed in the loose forwards, but last year he was listed in the lock slot, and he'd actually play at 6 a lot. And this guy's a bit of a freak because he's a forward, but I mean, he runs like a back. He's just got serious pace. So yeah, he would get line breaks and score tries, like. And in the lock slot, where the points are pretty hard to come by, I mean, he was just amazing. And but the funny thing is, this week, like this year, he's listed as a loose forward in fantasy, but he's actually playing in the locks this week. But I kind of wonder if it'll actually work out for him, because now he might actually get some of that line out ball, right? Like, you think if he's been named as a lock, that maybe they'll just throw the line out ball to Nasilisila or whoever else is in the line out. But yeah, I mean, that's something that could actually help him out. And the guy's like good around the park in the open. But yeah, probably a bit of an out there pick for this week. He's he might also get subbed because it's his first game of the year. But he might not have the fitness yet. But definitely a guy to be aware of going forward. Now with the locks, and I mean the big one is Warner Durns, right? Had that massive game last week against Moana Pacifica, 59 points without even getting a try. Just got points from everything across the park. Like, try assists, turnover, 2 line-out steals, a line-out wins, an offload, a line break assist. Pretty good amount of tackles as well. 14 tackles. Like, yeah, the guy from Japan. He could well be like the best lockpick this year. We'll have to wait and see. But problem is that it's kind of you kind of want to pick Hurricanes elsewhere this week. So yeah, I mean the lock slot's kind of low priority. I mean, if this guy's able to put up scores like this every week, maybe not. He'll be up there with the backs, but I mean, I don't expect him to be able to put up this sort of score every single week. But yeah, he's probably the number 1 pick this week. But yeah, you're probably not going to have. You're probably picking Hurricanes elsewhere, and you should be prioritizing picking them elsewhere if you do like the Hurricanes this week. But otherwise, as I always say with lock, bit of a muchness with me. I mean, Tupavai, fantastic lock, but yeah, like I said, like locks, they're not going to post 50 points every week, right? So even though he did well in week 1 and sort of everyone picked him in week 2, we saw he only got 22 points. And when coming up against the Crusaders, that's going to be a tough game, right? So yeah, I don't expect him to be coming away with much more than 30 points from that match. I mean, of course it's possible, but usually with these lock and prop slots, I try and just kind of buy cheaper guys, and 6.1 million is kind of expensive for a lock, to be honest. If you don't have any cash or budget pressure, you might want to go for them. But otherwise, it's not going to be the end of the world if you just go for someone else. Guys I do like, I mean, Canham, he was very solid last year. Not exciting, but solid. That's why I've gone with him this week. Not a bad lineup against the Highlanders. Shaw, Cater and Neville, these guys have been pretty solid. Craig, not usually a guy that excites, to be honest. Did pretty good against the Drua in week 1. Might go pretty well against the Force as well. Salakai Lotto, I mean, this guy's a big unit. He can carry like a beast. Didn't do a lot against the Waratahs. And yeah, kind of does less than you would expect in fantasy. He wasn't amazing last year either, but he's so cheap. I mean, he's not at all a bad pick, to be honest. If you're struggling for cash, I wouldn't hesitate to get this guy. Like, he's gonna get probably a couple of tries at some point this season. Might be this game if you're lucky. But otherwise, guys that I actually like, Sam Darry's back this week, and I think it was stood down for concussion maybe that he got in round 1. But yeah, in general, I think Sam Darry is pretty solid, but again, not particularly exciting. Darcy Swain was pretty good last year. Hasn't done a lot this year, to be honest, which is kind of interesting. Same with Jeremy Williams, but Jeremy Williams playing at 6 this year for some reason. But yeah, bit of a muchness here. Save money in this slot if you need to. Now, talking about the hookers, a very important slot, and this one's kind of tricky this week. Obviously, we got Taukiaho. He's been the hooker of the tournament so far. 49 points against the Blues with a try, and then 2 tries against the Highlanders and an 83-point haul. Even if you take the tries out of it, I mean, this is still like a very impressive score. And yeah, like he's the premier hooker option for fantasy right now. There's not much arguing with it. If you watch him play, I mean, he's still devastating with the carry, right? Like, he's still extremely hard to stop close to the line, even against a very good defense like the Blues. But yeah, again, like, tough match with the Crusaders, man. Like, is he gonna be able to, are the Chiefs gonna run in like 2 more tries against the Crusaders like they did against the Highlanders? I don't really think so. And is he gonna be able to muscle over against the Crusaders like he did the Blues? I mean, it's possible, but I'm not going to take that for granted. If he doesn't get a try in this game, I mean, he's on 34 points, which isn't particularly exciting for a hooker, but then again, you take the tries out with this game, it was very impressive. So yeah, it kind of depends on how you feel like that Crusaders Chiefs game is going to go. You can't go wrong with him either way though, if you can afford him, because nothing else is very exciting at all here in the rest of the picks. Probably the next guys I would be looking at Jack Taylor and Nick Dolly. Jack Taylor's just been solid so far this year, and he's getting points around the park, right? Like, getting these turnovers forced, 2 in the first game, 1 in the second game. That's always good to see. And getting a lot of minutes. Like, yeah, he's not expensive, he's solid. The matchup against the Reds, it's could be a good one. And with Nick Dolly, he was pretty solid last year, to be honest. He was pretty solid, and he was kind of underrated, because the thing with the Force last year is that Tizano, he'd always be the one to score all their tries from the back of the maul. So Nick Dolly was kind of getting a bit robbed in terms of points, but even though he's playing pretty solid around the rest of the park otherwise. Yeah, Nick Dolly's an option. Because it's his first game back, he might get subbed, but I mean, these front rowers, they always sort of get subbed before 60 minutes anyway, so it doesn't make that much difference. And is Tizano still stealing the mauls this year? I don't think the Force have run in a maul try yet this year, correct me if I'm wrong, so I'm not actually sure, but otherwise, yeah, he's still kind of solid. Matty Fazler, I do actually like. I thought he was pretty solid last year, even though he spent a lot of time out injured. Didn't do a lot against the Waratahs, but definitely one to be aware of. Almoa hasn't impressed, man, in fantasy. Wasn't that great last week, wasn't that great last year. Might go well against the drawer, but again, like, I'd be picking my Hurricanes elsewhere, to be honest. And yeah, no one else particularly exciting here in the hookers. And for the props, like I always say, just same as the locks, like nothing exciting here, all a bit of a much and a muchness. So if you need to save money, if you're sort of hitting your budget limit, just come in here and get the guys who are starting that you can afford, that you kind of like. But otherwise, it really doesn't matter a whole lot, to be honest. And that's what I've done this week. I am actually up against my budget this week, so yeah, going for Renata, who is probably one of the more expensive props, just because, yeah, he's always been solid. He's solid last year. I mean, 32 points last week was pretty good as well, and it's always a chance to come away with a try, just because of the way the Blues, they like to roll their sleeves up in the 22, and their props often come away with tries. Last week it was Fusatua. Could have easily been him. It was last year. Robertson, he was super solid last year. Hasn't sort of done much this year. Yeah, I think you couldn't go wrong with him. I'll go with Harry Johnson Holmes just because he's super cheap, 2.9, but I wouldn't actually recommend this guy as a pick otherwise, unless you really need to save the money, because yeah, I mean, he got a good score last week, but that was with a try, right? And otherwise, his scoring hasn't been particularly amazing. Adam Ross, I thought, would be doing better. I mean, he's the former Chiefs man, right? He was pretty solid last year at the Chiefs, but yeah, only 12 points round 1. But we'll see how he goes through the year. I wouldn't be surprised if he picks up a bit. And last year for the Brumbies, Alatoa, he was super solid. He was just often scoring tries. And I mean, James Slipper, he was kind of lucky to get that try against the Crusaders, to be honest. He was in support and it just sort of popped up. So yeah, I wouldn't bank on him getting a try every week, but still, I mean, 25 points from a prop both weeks. I mean, can't be too unhappy with that. So if you can afford him, you can't go wrong with him, to be honest. As for who you go with for a captain this week, it is kind of tricky, right? Like, it would be Fananga Nofo for me, but again, I'm just scared of that wet weather in Fiji, man. Like, if it's raining, I'm probably going to change my captain. I'm probably going to be changing my team quite a lot, to be honest. But other good options, I mean, it's kind of hard, right? I mean, look, Billy Proctor's a good option, but again, you get the same problem if it's raining, right? Like, how much is he going to be able to run? Another option I do like, though, Miracle Failangi, like, man, he got those 3 tries against the Endurers. He got to do that against the Force. I mean, probably not, to be honest. It's a possibility, but probably not. But he could still go all right. I mean, Will Jordan solid. I mean, again, like, if this game against the Chiefs turns out to be quite a tough one, then yeah, maybe not. But I mean, he's been solid so far, right? Like, he could be a safe bet if it is raining in Fiji. That's probably the one I would gravitate towards. As for using the boosters, feels kind of dicey to me this week just because of, the rain and in Fiji. If it was going to be dry there, then yeah, I think triple captain or co-captains, probably more co-captains actually, would be in play, right? You'd use them sort of like you would have wanted to use them last week. Just slap them on a couple of those outside backs, like whether it's Finianganofo and Proctor or Finianganofo and whoever else you have, and hopefully they go crazy like they did last week. And look, I mean, with Limitless, you can use that one whenever you feel like your budget is just vastly insufficient to afford the team that you want to pick that week. So yeah, that sort of depends on what you're doing that week. But otherwise, guys, that'll do it from me. Hope you find this useful in some shape or form. Let me know what your thoughts are, or if you think I've missed any players or missed a trick somewhere. Otherwise, I hope you have a good rest of your week. Don't forget to check the weather for that game in Fiji if you're buying a lot of Hurricanes players. Otherwise, enjoy the games at the end of the week, and I'll catch you in the next one.